All right, welcome everybody. Fire Up Connect. I'm so glad that you guys are able to join. This is a time for us to get fired up, especially with all the situations that we're in. I think it is some sort of an opportunity for us also to really connect and have more of a intimate way of working with each other, because apparently when you're on a Zoom call, you're really totally paying attention. You cannot be doing other things while we're talking to each other, right? So there Jim is trying to do multitasking.
I'm so busted. I was minding my P's and Q's.
So anyway, I would start by doing our Q&A, and the way I'm gonna do this, because it's just us, I would start with, let's say, Steve. Steve, who do you want to ask questions on? You have 4 people to select, so just go ahead and select one and then ask your question.
Well, Kim, I don't know much about you, so Kim, hi.
Well,
why don't you tell us a little bit about what your focus is in your business and exactly what you do in a short amount of time that we have. Yeah.
Okay, and Kim, remember, there's only a minute, but I'm okay having a few more seconds in there, but keep it concise, because we want to make sure that we are still following the guidelines for Fire Up Connect. Okay.
Got it. So I am a peak performance coach. So I transform the being from the inside out and the outside in. So basically, I've been in the wellness industry for 24 years. I have a fitness business here in San Diego. So I've done every kind of challenge you can imagine with my clients. And about 5 years ago, I stepped into the self-development arena. So I've been coaching for good 24 years. And when I stepped in, I was certified as a master practitioner in timeline therapy and hypnosis, certified as a coach, and began doing personal and professional coaching. What I absolutely love is I have all of the tools in place for people to have total breakthrough, mind, body, and soul. And how we do one thing is how we do everything. So all of that translates, that personal transformation translates into everything we do professionally. So that's what I really get to do. And I get to take businesses from scratch and build them up.
Awesome.
With a solid foundation. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Very good.
Thank you. All right, Jim.
Yes.
Who do you want to ask?
Who do I want to ask?
Yeah, you have other 4 people.
Okay. Well, gosh, I don't really know a lot, or I don't remember a lot about Monica.
Okay, Monica.
I'm gonna ask Monica a question.
Go on. I'm ready.
So you recently relocated to North Carolina.
Yes.
Tell us about the differences in the way you do business there versus the way it's done here.
Well, I've recently moved out here, so we sort of made the change beginning of December, and I haven't really moved my business yet.
Oh.
I have a lot of referrals. My husband's a veteran and a part of a lot of military families' lives, and I've been very blessed with referrals, and I do more loans than real estate. I had some people I was working with while I went back for January and February, but I have the joy of working remotely, obviously, so that's why we found our piece of paradise, and then I moved out here. So I will be setting up over here, but we haven't done that yet, and especially with everything going on and the uncertainty and sort of waiting to get to the other side of these, this what we're dealing with right now before sort of reassessing. It's obviously not a priority. I'm just happy with the business that I currently have and going from there, but I am happy with the move. It's just, it's a different way of living here, very peaceful. Like my office is in the home, obviously, but it's in 17 acres and not off of Oceanside Boulevard where there's traffic. So, it's, but I do a lot more video calls now too, because even with loans, you don't really meet people face to face a lot. Although I did try to in California, I did try to keep it personal, not just a phone call, not just email, text. So I do a lot of video calls now with families. They have no idea where I'm at. Like, if it comes up, I'll tell them, you know, but it seems to push me to have the video calls a lot more now. But so I haven't really moved my business yet.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kim, your turn.
All right. Oh my goodness. Well, how about, let me ask Jim, let me ask you a question. So in this time, what has not been working for you as well as you would like it to in this time? Maybe personally and professionally.
Well, I'll start with the obvious. I can't go anywhere.
Okay, I got that. You can't get anywhere.
There's, well, what's not working as well. You know, I just had this recognition, and in fact, I got this client or this feedback from a client I was working with today. We had a meeting with his company yesterday, 7 people on the call plus myself, and we were doing some work. And then I did a follow-up with two of the participants today, and he acknowledged that it's more difficult to communicate in the same way. So here's part of the history of it is we had been working together.
Yeah.
I would show up to their office and be with them around the conference table. And now we're doing it on Zoom, and the ability to communicate is hampered by Zoom. And I had a sense of that. Somebody last week was sharing with me, or sharing with a group of us in our industry together, that, you know, one of the things about Zoom is people fidget. That's the word she used. People fidget. And I just envision, you know, people doing stuff and seeing that, you know, people being distracted and people, you know, doing this while you're on a call with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so that's something I'm still learning to adapt to. How do I facilitate in a group of more than, you know, like this 5-6 people, you know, how do I get the best responses? Yeah. How do I connect with people in a video form? It's certainly better than telephone. Yeah. But it's not working as well as I want it to be.
I got that. I'd love to offer you something afterwards. This may not be the time, but I have something that might support you in that, because I totally get what that's like.
Okay, sounds good. Monica.
Yes.
Who do you want to ask?
I want to ask Kim what that
is.
Yes, Monica.
And then let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, we all want to know.
Oh, you want to know what that is?
No, okay. We got 1 minute.
So, all right, you got 1 minute. So it's really important. So all of us on the screen right now, thank you so much for just giving me your focus, Marie, and giving me your attention right now. One of the most important things, what I'd like to do is set the precedence for this call. And I'd like to set the precedence by all of us choosing to be fully present on this call today. There's a lot of temptation of things pulling at us, but this call is for you today and for all of us to connect. So the challenge is, let's be present together.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just set yourself up for success, Jim. Just set yourself up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I might
get in the room.
Yeah, I might. Thank you.
Okay.
And I might have to say that again after about 15 minutes on the call, or 30 minutes on the call as well.
You might need to do like a stretch break for something. Turn the head to the right, turn the head to the left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they feel like they get the energy out.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Okay, my turn. I'm going to go ahead and ask Steve. Steve, you know, with the situation right now, and real estate agents are having a tough time because they couldn't really show some of the houses and everything. What are the things that you could, that you're able to work with them, and how are you able to help them with their business too?
Well, the most important thing for them right now, for real estate agents, is to make sure that the person is still pre-approved, because loan programs have changed drastically. Credit scores have increased for most lenders. Loan to values have changed. Debt to incomes have dropped for the qualifications. So the biggest thing is to reconnect with the agents on the current clients in process, see if they even still qualify, and reset the expectations, because it's definitely very different now. Also, too, is to be able to show a home. Most homes, you have to have a pre-approval in advance just to go in and look at the house. So even though the person should be pre-approved before you take them out anyway, now you have to get them pre-approved. So let's get them pre-approved now with the current situations. You know exactly where you're at. So then you can go in with confidence until the next day when things could change again.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That was good. I know it's short and sweet, but I think we get some ideas of what everybody's, situation. So let's talk about the next step, which is sharing some of your challenges, success stories, or your goals for this year, or whatever, maybe in a short term. I know that I'm hoping that this quarantine is going to be over in a month. They said May 15, so hopefully by then we can move forward.
Yeah.
So I'll start this time with Monica, since you're.
Is it just me, or is Marie breaking up a little bit?
I am. So
breaking
don't
up a
worry
little
about
bit.
me. Yes.
A little bit. Yeah.
So, okay, so challenges, I guess. Let's just start on challenges first. I mean, obviously, we've always have to deal with the unknown anyway, and we always try to adapt, but it's really hard to know what we're adapting to right now. I feel like we're sort of battening down the hatches. I feel like we're back in 2007 a little bit.
Yeah.
And as mentioned, it's, preparing people that we work with for changes and then having them understand why. It's just how it is, because I've had situations where, we were just about to close and, they're not working right now. And of course they're going to do a verification of employment right before close. And it's like, it's dead in the water, which I sort of called ahead of time and told them this just probably isn't going to happen. But anyway, it's a lot of preparation for things that we're not expecting, because we sort of do that anyway, but it seems like our plates are a little bit fuller right now, and trying to, make sure everyone's getting all this information as we go along, because we're learning as we go along all these changes and then relaying it.
Mm.
And it's tiresome. It's draining. And then there's the challenge in itself is like, how are you, adjusting to yourself and taking a step back, a breather, to be the best person that you can be, approaching whomever you're working with, because you're trying to handhold, the whole time. And it's no good if you're, putting bad energy out yourself. So we're all like isolated. I feel like we're all having to take time to reflect when we're not, I wish I could binge on Netflix. I said, because everyone's like doing that right now. And I'm like, who has time for that? I'm constantly on the phone, emails. I wasn't sure if I was going to make this call today. I did it on my phone in particular, so I wouldn't pick it up.
Okay, so the challenge
anyway, so those are challenges. Goals, I would say, I feel like obviously they've been sort of put off a little bit for bringing business here, for instance. I wanted to get my broker's license here in this state, but I feel like I have to put that on hold because I can't even focus on it at all. There's things you can do online and all that good stuff, but it's like I can't even focus on it. So it's just, not beating myself up and giving myself time for goals that I have for this year, but, trying to make sure I don't lose focus either as we go along.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Jim.
Success stories, challenges, or goals? That's the topic?
Yes, that's
okay,
our
good.
shared time.
I heard nothing.
Yeah.
Let's see. When this thing started, when things started closing in on us, I'll put it that way. That sounds dark, but when things started slowing down, I became very concerned. I became concerned primarily about people's reactions to what was going on. they were reacting to other people's reacting.
Mm-hmm.
And it was beginning to like not look healthy for our economy, our society, which are often intertwined, especially since we're all business leaders. And so what became apparent for me was this real need for leadership. And I don't mean the president, I don't mean the governor, I don't mean, the school district, but actually individual leadership. In that people are concerned, people are worried. The future has become unknown for nearly everybody. It's become, and that brings fear, and people are all responding to it in different ways. And so what's needed is for all of us to be leaders, or for those of us that can see the opportunity to be a leader, and what that allows for the rest of us is a sense of, not a conscious sense, but this feeling of, all right, everything's going to be okay. Now, whether we know that to be true or not, when we have that sense that, okay, I can get back to work, I can get back to my life, then that is going to carry us through this situation. And not just this situation, but any other situation that we come across as well. So the challenge is in having people get that, respond to that, and be that. And especially those that say, well, I'm not a leader. Well, you are, right? And it doesn't mean, standing on a street corner and saying this or that, but actually looking out and seeing what's needed for others. Just being of service is an aspect of leadership. So that's the challenge. It's also, it's not a success story, but it's certainly an opportunity for one. So that's what I see.
Okay. Steve, your turn. You're in a mute.
Sorry about that. So the biggest challenge right now is the velocity of change that's happening. This past few days starting to slow down a little bit, so that's really good. But we have changes in our industry by the hour, it seems like last week. Now it's just by the day, so that's good. Sort of reminiscent of 2008, but in a very different way. Real estate's staying stable. I think we're going to be fairly stable on the real estate side of things. And it's not a lender-induced situation that we're in right now. So the challenge is volume, because of course everybody heard that the Fed's reduced the interest rates to 0, which was not true for long-term interest rates. But of course that made the phone blow up, and granted rates did come down for a short period, then they spiked up over 1%, and now they're coming back down. So volume is very good right now, but then with all the changes, it's more difficult to get loans closed. And it takes about twice as long now as where it did 2 months ago to get through the file and make sure everything's pitch perfect. So those are the challenges we're dealing with right now, and we're just working extra hours and trying to put better systems in place to deal with all the extra things that we have to do on each file. So that's where we're at.
All right, sounds good. Kimberly.
Okay, I had to check to see if I had to unmute. Okay, so I would say, the beginning of this year, I had a very clear goal to take my 3 businesses, and to create them to sustainability, and to surround myself with team. Because as an entrepreneur, I would say I've been a solopreneur for a long time. I come from a history of solopreneurs. Now listen, you can only get so far when you're a solopreneur. We really need one another, especially in, building businesses that are sustainable. So I was like, well, where do I focus my energy? Do I focus on this one? So I had all these plates spinning, and then boom, everything hit. And it was really funny because it was almost as if everything just integrated at that moment. And so the thought was, rather than this is happening to me, this is happening for me. And it really is for all of us in so many ways, to reconnect with self, to reconnect with others in our life, right? To reconnect even our source. And so I all of a sudden started focusing on, oh my gosh, what matters most to people right now? It's wellness. It's wellness. People are afraid that they're going to catch this coronavirus, right? And so they're disinfecting their houses. They're literally breaking down their immune system with things like Lysol, all of that. So it was really amazing to have all of the resources and everything I needed to immediately bring people into life-changing wellness sessions, which is really, really powerful. So with that being said, my business started to really grow, and I started to really grow team. Like that was a really big thing. I'm sorry. The challenges are, just heard someone come in and close the door strong. I have 4 children, and I have a house full right now, and my husband's home and everyone's home. That's the greatest challenge for me. So we've had kids that are doing volleyball practices online. We just met with a teacher online. So balancing all of that, and a conversation I'm going to have with my daughter in just a minute about respecting my space when I'm on a Zoom call. We're going to have that conversation. That's my biggest challenge right now, is within my own home.
Okay. I can totally relate to it. So let me tell you, my challenge is this internet for me.
Oh, yeah.
I am, because I'm using Wi-Fi, I'm in a room where the router is in a different location. So I have to figure out how to connect my laptop all the way down to where it is.
Gotta get a booster.
Yes. So, but I am enjoying, this new technology, just this new way of communication. It's just that I'm like acting like a robot on the background because my internet's so slow.
It's like Mac. Does anyone remember Max Headroom?
Yes, that's it.
What I'm feeling.
I should just have a cartoon look in there. Okay. All right. So that was so cool, you guys. Now let's take this time to where we can just figure out some ideas on how we can help each other, because ideas is always good to share, especially if you're having some challenges with your businesses. I'm thinking even for like Steve, he is in the mortgage industry, where we know a lot of real estate agents are having difficulty. I mean, Monica, I'm sure you're kind of like in the same boat with Steve in terms of how do you guys make this work when everybody's afraid to even show their homes, to even go out there and look at what's available in the market. How can you be creative in that situation where people are not willing to show their homes or to even look around? So I just want to ask you guys about that.
Well, people are showing their homes. A lot of them have different requirements. You talk to different real estate agents. For example, we're in escrow right now on a property where they not only require them to be pre-approved first, but actually have an offer in fully accepted before they let them come in and look at the house. So they like the pictures online well enough. They submitted an offer, got their offer accepted, then looked at the house and confirmed, yes, they love the house and we're moving forward, and we'll be closing that within the next 2 weeks.
Really?
So yeah, you work around it. A lot of them are just requiring them to be pre-approved up front. Some aren't requiring, some are not allowing them to go in until they put in an offer.
So the key is the agents have to have good photos, and they have to have good video production, probably,
Virtual
so they
tours,
can really the virtual. Okay.
And then suggesting to do a drive-by, like that. That's always the first and foremost, because a lot of people will drive up and don't even want to walk in. So how about you do the drive-by now, if you can? I'm not sure if people are getting like pulled over there if they're not on their way to somewhere in particular. It's a bit difficult.
I think some agents are going in just themselves. That way you don't have a couple other people and kids tromping through a house, touching everything. The agent goes in and just does a video, a live video stream as he walks through the house and talks to them.
Yes.
So is it a better system now that that's what's happening?
I find that with a lot of the realtors that I'm working with, because I established, realtors I worked with before I moved out of the state recently, but that and keeping them updated weekly and daily, and that's also with my own little newsletters and updates. But yeah, for house showings, I found from who I've been working with, it's, signing off the form that there's no symptoms. If it's vacant, usually it's likely they can go and see it with the form, gloves, and a mask. But I would always suggest do a drive-by first and then go through the virtual tour if they have that online, and of course the pictures. But as Steve mentioned, you need to be pre-approved. You just can't go shopping like you used to before. Like, you have to be there needs to be a real necessity for the purchase right now.
Okay. What about you guys connecting with people? Because you have to have a pipeline of business that keeps coming in. How do you establish your networking connections?
In my situation, a lot of it's a lot of military families, and of course they're being put off to move until summer. So I'm like, great, in a sense, but I'm preparing them how overlays have been coming up and guideline changes. So it's like, if you don't have basically excellent credit and a low debt to income ratio, then start preparing for summer. I have, people looking at refinancing, possibly that type of thing, but I'm not, unless someone's really looking to purchase, which I have a few. For me personally, I'm just not even pushing for it unless they have to move and they have a really good situation where an overlay isn't going to appear right before closing that could affect them. Like if they have borderline credit, even with the new increases, like if they're close to that number, I'm just a little bit wary to even get started, because I don't want them, being liable for an appraisal and inspection if they they change the credit rating by the end of the month, because everything's still a little bit, up in the air from where I'm sitting.
Okay. Question for all the coaches, Jim and Kimberly, because I know Steve made a point about the SBA loan, that it is a forbearance. Is that right, Steve? Is that what you said about the SBA loans?
No, I didn't talk about SBA loans. I just talked about home loans in general. And if you use a forbearance program, beware.
Oh, I see. Okay. So for Jim and for Kimberly, what do you think about this new loans that's being given out for the business owners? I mean, do you guys have any perspective about that? I'll start with Kimberly.
So I know a couple of my clients who have actually been hired on to do jobs because of business owners who've taken on that loan. So it has been very beneficial for, my clients. Now, my clients haven't taken on that loan. They haven't done that, but they've been hired out. So I don't know, Jim, what's your take on the loan?
Great question. And my first response was, I don't know. But I do have an answer. So I know better than to go with my first response. Well, and I say that because finances are not something I generally go into deeply with my clients. However, what I do know is that, what I do know is that those loans will come with conditions and restrictions on them that are going to be, that aren't, because their loans aren't normal, the conditions and the restrictions are going to be not normal. Mm-hmm. And so the idea of being able to, pay your employees with this loan money, or what I heard from an HR consultant yesterday, was just the whole process of laying people off or furloughing them or whatever. You better understand the way the laws are written now, or there's gonna be, dare I say, hell to pay on the other end. So anybody who's considering something like that, get the help you need, the professional consulting you need, HR, maybe an attorney, to help you understand what you're getting yourself into. There's no free lunch, right? There are situations where they're absolutely the right move for you, and you need to understand the whole story.
Yeah, I know that there's repercussions. Like if you have an employee, for example, and that employee is no longer an employee once you receive that loan, you have to pay that back. Right. I mean,
perfect example.
right? And so this is such a like a temperamental time in people's lives that it's a risk. It's a risk, but I think that's great that seeking advice, HR advice, I think is wise.
Okay. So in regards to people that have lost their jobs and they're at home, I mean, how are you guys helping them out as business coaches and, transformational coach?
Mm-hmm. So, one of the things that I'm doing is, I'd love to send this to you guys as well. I just sent out another campaign, and it's called Clarify Your Vision, Your Success Stairway. And so what can come in a time like this is whatever is not resolved from the past becomes the filter of which you're looking through. So you know how, Jim, you were saying like fear is triggered for people right now, right? So wherever that incompletion began, the first time that you experienced fear, literally, it's all right there right now. So I'm working with my clients to really get to the space in the unconscious mind where we're able to release the energy that's stuck there, to actually get to if we can get to the highest learning of that moment where there was any kind of trauma, anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, it literally is like the energy is released. So when they can release that energy, they now are in a space of, this is happening for me, rather than being at the effect or a victim to what's happening, right? So that's what we're dealing with first is it's like the elephant in the room. You can't ignore what's there because there's an impact for all that emotional stuff that's there. And we're all experiencing different emotional things, right? So the success story is really powerful because we all came into the year, well, not everybody, but a lot of us came into the year with very clear goals of where we wanted to be in the next 6 months, 90 days, 6 months, or a year. And so on this stairway, what we do is I get people really clear as to that one big goal. That one thing, that one goal, if met, would cause all of the other goals to it would activate all of the other goals. It would give you energy towards all the other goals. Okay. And this time is a time that we get really focused on why we're here, what's really going on, our purpose. We reconnect, right? Okay. And so when we can get here, and this is when I'm working with my clients, then we're able to go to the top of our success stairway and look from it from an unconscious place of having already achieved it. And then when we look down that stairway, we're able to see everything realign. Pretty cool. So those are some of the techniques that I'm using with clients right now.
All right. What about you, Jim?
Wow, that was great, Kim. And, we work in the same space. So I completely get what you're saying and got rather enrolled in how you were saying it. Cool. So much so that I forgot what the question was.
Thank you.
How are you guys helping people that are at home right now that have lost their jobs?
Got it. Yes.
As a business coach.
Yeah. So, where do I want to begin with that? I am mostly working in the area of, because businesses are my clients, mostly what I'm working with, or much of what I'm working on now, as a result of the situation, is some of the staff is at home and some of the staff is in the office. So there are new challenges to that. People getting used to working from home, people feeling focused, working from home, people from the office being okay with some of the staff working from home without any sense of resentment, or being able to serve the needs of people that are working from home when, can you go get me I need some information from this file, and not having any resentment around that. Business is a network of conversations, and the quality of those conversations determines the quality of the business, the quality of the results, and the quality of the experience in working there. So that is a place that I work from quite a bit in having communication and leadership flow freely through the organization so that the organization's efficient, it's fun, and productive and powerful along the way. What else is different? One of the things that that happened is, our brains like to know how things are going to turn out.
Mm-hmm.
And in ordinary times, we kind of do. We know that next year is going to be pretty much like this year, only a little better, or maybe a little worse, but it'll be pretty much the same. It's predictable. And when that future is not predictable, it becomes very difficult for us to keep the fear at bay. Okay. And that'll happen to kind of everybody all at once.
Okay, so I have a challenge for all of you. Since everybody is experiencing different things about their business, how do you see yourself working with the people that we have right now in terms of how you can help them with their business and your business too? Any ideas? I'll start with whoever has the first idea.
Can you ask that again?
Okay, so since you're experiencing, I mean, you've shared what you guys are experiencing right now, right, with your business. How do you see yourself working with the people that we have right now, and that will be a win-win situation for both of you?
Well, this is a good start.
This is a really good start.
Yeah, because this is where you trigger. How can I work? If I were in your position, how can I work with Monica? How can I work with Steve? How can I work with Jim? Knowing that these are the things that they just told me, that this is what they're doing. These are their challenges and experiences. How can I collaborate with them that will benefit me and will benefit them? This is where the key of collaboration comes in. But you have to find a way to come up with an idea that it will be a win-win situation, because think about this. Both Steve and Monica are in the loan business. Jim and Kimberly are both in the coaching business. Now, the challenge is how you guys can work together.
Yeah.
I liked Kim's feedback on, communicating and then relating to feelings of how people feel, because everyone's like in a dark place of their feelings. And like you mentioned with, it brings out other feelings of dark times and how we're reacting to it. So I appreciate some of that communication to sort of put that into perspective. Because we think that we're communicating well with our clients, but to hear that perspective of like, there's so much deeper that people can go with their feelings when they're in a dark place, and just remembering that there could be so much more emotion with where they're at, rather than just, how they're paying their rent or their mortgage, or, if they can get toilet paper today, or, stuff like that. There's deeper feelings going on, and it's maybe just having a conversation that isn't about why you really called, how are you, and relating as a person. And,
okay, so how do you work with Kimberly on that sense? Because I'm seeing that you can see some of the benefits that she just gave you, but how can you work with her? And I'm also going to give you a challenge to where, how can you work with Steve, knowing that both of you are in the loan business? And same thing with Jim and Kimberly. How do you guys can work together? Because both of you have some sort of a similar concept on how to help, but at the same time, you both are in a different community and a different connection of people. But how do you guys benefit from each other?
For me, what I was thinking was, like, for me, I'm like networking queen. I love to connect people. It's one of my most favorite things to do. It's like the gem, So I would have a one-on-one conversation with each of you guys, and I would look at what the need is, who that ideal person is, whatever they're looking for, and then my Rolodex starts going, and then I look to see how I can connect them. I mean, that's just one of the things that I do, and that one-on-one conversation is really important for me to have with them. So that's probably what I would do. And I would look to see, how I can serve you, Jim, how I can serve you, Steve, how I can serve you, Monica. Right?
Okay. That's a good question right there for them. Because here's what I'm thinking. If I were to really take advantage of your services, if I were Monica or Steve, I mean, they're in the loan industry, but they need to be to have the exposure to the people that they are not usually getting exposed to. You know, it's again, it's the connection. You have the Rolodex, you have the connections, but these people are in a different industry where you're not doing the same thing. I mean, how can you do that, especially with the technology right now? To this is the time where people are doing a lot of online communication. So think about it. Marketing, it has so many ways of being creative and how you can present yourself. So, and all of you are very knowledgeable and very, I mean, the years of experience. Steve, how many years have you been in the loan industry?
20 years.
20
A
years.
long time.
Yes. And Monica, she's not only a loan officer, she's also a real estate agent, right? You're also still doing
so
real
in the
estate.
loan industry since 2004, and then for real estate 7 years.
Yes, the combination of that experience is good. And Jim, how many years of experience do you have in coaching?
I was going to come up with a funny answer. So my answer is full-time.
However you think is considered experience for you.
Oh, well, okay. Then I'm going to go back a few years. You know, my toolbox comes from many years of experience, but I'll answer with you. How long have I been professionally coaching as my sole source of revenue, or as, you know, my primary source of revenue? And that would be 11 years.
11 years. What about you, Kimberly?
I've been coaching for 24 years.
24 years.
So remember, my whole background started in the wellness industry. So coaching specifically in the wellness industry. And about 5 years ago was when I made that transition, certifying as, you know, a business coach in that arena. So in the business aspect, it's about 5 years.
Okay. So I think this is where, if I wanted to connect with each one of you is, or if you guys are going to do that, you know, one thing to find out is who are your target market? I mean, do we know what Monica's target market is? And do we know what Steve's looking for? I mean, he's probably, you know, I don't know. I'm thinking that, are you towards people that are just in the military, or first-time home buyers, or investors? What are your target market? Does Jim know that? Or do you know what Jim is also looking for in terms for his clients? You know, what kind of clients are you working with? And Kimberly, you're talking about wellness. Are you towards people that are in the wellness?
So right now, I am specifically looking for people that are looking to take on their physical wellness, okay, with building strong immune systems from the inside out and the outside in, also financial wellness. So one of the things I do in addition to my coaching is the toolbox I've utilized for 15 years is the largest e-commerce health and wellness company in North America. It has been my toolbox for thousands of clients of mine. So that is one of my businesses. And the amazing part is, you would think that in this time, everything would stop. In this time, it's been my business that's like growing the most.
So that is different from what Jim's target market. I'm assuming, because I've worked also with Jim, and I think, Jim, you're more on the strategic way of looking at the current business. Am I right?
Maybe. It depends on what you mean by that. That's not how I would say it, but the strategy is certainly important. The way I might characterize it is, I spent the first half of my professional career as a geologist.
Oh, wow.
And in that field, what you're doing is you're looking beneath the surface to see what's under there that might cause problems when you go to build on it, mostly in the engineering world. And so that's often what I do with my client. That's not often. I mean, that's a sense, or in a sense, what I work with my clients. Like Kim was talking about, a one-to-one, you know, working one-on-one with somebody. You're getting, you know, meeting somebody, and that's really looking at what's beneath the surface. Where do they want to go? What's beneath the surface that we can accelerate to have you get there faster, and also what's beneath the surface that might be holding you back. Right, and shining some light on that and saying, all right, what are some areas that I need more power in, or what are some areas do I need to let go of? Because knowledge isn't the answer. Some knowledge is useful, knowledge is important, but it's also plentiful and free. And I'm sure you, Kim, you've heard this analogy before, used it yourself. How do you get into shape? You exercise more and you eat better, right? But that, knowing that, doesn't make a substantive difference
at all.
Right? There's something else going on there.
Okay.
That has people perform or not.
All right. So I mean, obviously, everybody's got amazing experience, and you guys have tons of network of people, connections based on your expertise. But have you ever thought that you have all these connections, that will these people be interested in another's business? Like for you, Jim, if you're doing a session, or actually you're doing an event with a group of people, would it make sense to bring in Monica or Steve Tempel as more of a a component of your topic with these people that will trigger business for Steve? You see what I'm saying? So it's almost like just being creatively sharing their experiences to whatever topic you're doing, because that's how I kind of slowly introduce people. And then what happened is, when you are able to do this, Steve has his own connection of people that have not seen you, Jim. So if you are both in the same session, for example, and you have put this out in public, guess what? All the 5,000 people of Steve, plus your 5,000 people that you have, are now joined looking at both information. And that's where you trigger the exposure and trigger the businesses that could come out of that. So that's what I'm talking about. If you have now connected the four of you, figure out how you can embrace everybody's expertise and experience, and take advantage of that for both of you to get more marketing out there. And that's what I'm looking at, because that's what I'm doing now. That's why I've got the Zoom talk, you guys. I'm doing all of that, and I'm going after people that have amazing connections, that are has such valuable information. And I want you guys to take advantage of this too, because you now know what Monica's doing, what Steve is doing, what Jim is doing, and what Kimberly. Just have fun combining your skills and creating, all kinds of topics out there. Put it on YouTube. You know that YouTube can make you lots of money too, right? Right? I mean, you know that you could, if you constantly put information in there, you set up you're building your branding, you're building your connections, your subscribers, and you're building the money that you can get from YouTube. You could probably get like from 20,000 to 200,000 a year, where you're gonna stop doing what you're doing because you're just making money from YouTube. I'm just saying that those are opportunities that you can tap into if you really understand what the technology is offering you right now. Especially people can't go anywhere, and they just have to watch people and listen to them. So take advantage of this opportunity. That's why I wanted to have this meeting, because I can see that, you already have this relationship established. So the only next level thing to do is to have that agreement with each other. Hey, let's keep doing this, maybe once a month or twice a month, that we do this, different topics, and just keep, putting out information. It's free. Nobody's, asking you to pay. And, Zoom is already there for you guys. So it's just
Marie,
a matter
can I
of
add to what you're saying?
What's
Can I
that?
add what you're saying? So I think a good thing to really think about, you guys, is like Steve. There are certain skill sets that you have that you've honed in on. The same thing for you, Monica, and the same thing for you, Jim, right? Like, one of my skill sets is enrollment, right? I know how to do enrollment. You could call enrollment sales, right? That's one of the things that is one of my strengths, right? Now, you guys are going to have your strengths, right? And can you imagine, bringing people to a room, like we could do a Zoom like this and focus on one of your strengths, Steve, because your strength translates into every business. Jim, your strength, strategy. Oh my gosh, that's not my strength. That's your strength, right? That translates. Monica, you have your strength. So if we focus on like, what are our strengths, or the topics that we love to talk about, we just love to talk about it because we know we're good at it, right? Like, those are the things, the gifts that we get to bring to like a group like this where we can invite people to have a topics. I don't know. I like your idea. I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
anytime you can get an opportunity to collaborate and come up with ideas, projects, do it. Don't waste your time on just waiting for people to come to you or knock your door or somebody will give you a referral. I can tell you right now, this is a testimony and it's a proven record. I've been doing Zoom calls, and every time I do my Zoom calls, I get business from it. Seriously, I am getting paid because I was doing Zoom calls, and then I was doing collaboration at the same time, and then I started getting projects that I'm getting paid for it.
Wow.
See how that works? So that's why I'm letting you guys know you need to be proactive. Talk to each other. You already know what everybody's doing, and create that that synergy. And even with all the real estate agents, Steve, you know, how many real estate agents do you know that are sitting in their house right now?
Yeah, a lot of them.
So if you bring them in with Jim and with or Kimberly or whoever you wanted to bring in, and bring them to the limelight, and ask them, what are you good at? You know, what can you do for people? Because, you know, with my interview also, I'm learning. I feel like I'm getting education by interviewing everybody too, but at the same time, I'm learning how to promote them. And as you being the loan officer, you too, Monica, being the loan officer, you are going to be able to establish all that relationship with the real estate agents if you bring them in the limelight. Kind of like what I'm doing with the TV show. If you guys wanted to have a TV show, you know, I'm here. You know, I'll give you that opportunity, but I'm telling you, it is available for you to be to have the exposure, more connections, more relationship, more business coming to you, because you're reaching out to people. You got to reach out. You got to pick up that phone, call them, and say, "Hey, let's do something together. I want to help you, and you know, I've got an idea, and let's make it happen." How's that?
I will reach out and let me know when the next meeting is, but I'm getting blown up because I said it would be an hour.
Okay. All right. We're already 4:30. Yes. Normally our Fire Up Connect is an hour and a half, but since it's just us, we're good. No, that's okay. So I'm going to try
can you send out everyone's information? I'd love to connect with Monica. I have Jim's number. Steve, I think I have your number.
Yep, I've got your info.
Let's
Rick, hi.
Perfect. I just sent out Monica's number.
If you go to, do you have Jim's?
I have Jim's number as well, yeah.
You have Monica's and you have Steve's?
I don't have Monica's.
Monica.
Are you ready?
Monica, what's your number?
949-891-3724.
Excellent. Monica, what's your last name?
Stone. S-T-O-N-E.
Strong. Come on.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. All right. I think we are good. Do you have any last comment, feedback? Kimberly, what's your feedback of this meeting?
I think that there are powerhouses in this room that are going to really just transform your environments, guys. Like, you get to be a space of transformation in your home, your marriage, your family, and the world around you. Like, this time is for us, you guys. This is our time. This is our time.
I agree. Monica, feedback.
I enjoyed everyone's energy and their dynamic and what everyone brought into this meeting. I really enjoyed this call, and I feel like I got a lot out of it, and it made the rest of my day much more positive.
Awesome. Jim.
Well, it's great connecting with you all again. Even though, Kim, this is our first time, it's great to see the familiar faces in the familiar format. You know what, I look at this time, it's like, what a great opportunity for a reset. You know, we get to sort of like clear everything off the desk and say, all right, what if I were to reinvent my business, how would I go about doing that? Because I have no excuses anymore.
Steve.
So good.
Yeah, and it's sort of like reinventing ourselves every day through this last 3-4 weeks. Anyway, great to meet you, Monica. First time. Kim, great to reconnect with you. Jim, haven't seen you in a while. Thank you. And Marie, always good to see you. And great exchange, and a lot of good positive vibes from this. Thanks so much for your enthusiasm, Kim.
Yeah.
Right?
It was a
Sounds
joy
good.
being here.
If you guys need help on branding, you know where to find me. I'm here for all of you. Okay.
Thank you, Marie. You're
So
the best. Thank you for bringing this
thank
together.
you.
Great.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Have an
Thank you,
awesome
everyone.
day, and I'm
Everybody.
going to send you another invite for our next Fire Up Connect meeting.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye. Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.